Have you ever just been out and about and something just happens to catch your eye just right? And you think to yourself, you know what? I'm gonna have to take that home. Well, that just happened to me recently, and being that I'm into a bunch of different video games and I'm always looking to try something new, especially if the price is right, I'm willing to give it a chance. Hey, how you doing, guys? This is D, the Grim Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. The thing in question that I'm talking about, I just happened to find while we were checking out at a Walmart. That's right, this was in a Walmart checkout line for a cool $10, and apparently it's got 200 games built into it. I'm talking about this little guy right here. This is the Arcade Fun portable game console from Mercury Innovations, and apparently this has over 200 games on it, ranging from retro arcade games to puzzle games, shooting games, racing games, fighting games, adventure games, and more. It's great while traveling, camping, commuting, and simply relaxing anywhere. But the thing that caught my eye the most about this while I was looking at it is it comes with some AV cables, and since nowadays I hook up a lot of older consoles to my computer with an upscaler, things of that nature, in order to stream them, I thought, well, if this comes with an AV cable, not only could I play this on the go, I could hook this up and I could do streams off of this little bad boy. So this could serve me multiple functions. So I said, you know what? It's $10. I'll give it a try. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to throw away $10. So we're going to crack this thing open, and we're going to get this all hooked up to the computer, and we're going to check some of these games out and see what this little guy is all about. Okay, well, I've never quite done something like this on the channel before, and so the way that I've got this set up, this is actually upside down to me. I'm gonna try to do it this way. So as you can see, this is the box here, and it's got a couple examples of some of the games on the back here. This kind of reminds me of like one of the old school like Game Boy Pockets or Game Boy Colors. This one is the red one. It had two different variations. You could get either this one or a purple, a translucent purple. And I almost got the translucent purple because back in the day, my brother actually had a translucent purple Game Boy Color. So I almost got that just as a throwback, just kind of for old time's sake, but didn't really care for the purple. So I went with the red. So we're going to crack this thing open here and see what we have inside. So I'm going to just pop this seal here, open this up, and right off the, well, there's our AV cable. This should allow us to hook it all up to the TV or to my setup over there or whatever. This must be our charging cable, I'm assuming. So it's looks like a USB, a standard USB end to it. So we got that, and looks like a little instruction manual. Not a whole lot to it. Shows you that the charging port is on the top. So that's a thing. It's got a rechargeable battery. So that's a thing. There's so no double A's, no triple A's, anything of that sort. So we're gonna pull this thing out. Nothing else in the box. We'll set that off to the side here. All in bubble wrap. The console is here, and the rechargeable battery is not in it. We have to put that in still yet. But here is the small little console itself. Now that I've got my fingerprints all over it already. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this kind of looks like it's got like maybe a Xbox button set up. We've got B, A, Y, and X. This here, I'm going to assume is like a restart or reset button. We've got to select the start and the directional pads. Kind of like the old school Game Boys. We've got your power switch on the top. Feels very light. Feels very, very cheap. And for $10, I guess, what could I really expect? So it looks like a volume dial here down on the bottom on the side. So, I'm interested to get the battery in this thing and start checking it out. Well, before hooking it up to my entire computer setup over there, I do have the battery now in. I tried to wipe the smears off the screen, and now I have a little white speck. I think it's underneath the screen, and so I can't get it off, and I can't really do anything with that. But if I flick on the power, it does come on. So and we can scroll through here, and since it's backwards and upside down and all that, I can't read any of that right now. We'll turn that volume down a bit, and we can scroll through all the games. I'm going to attempt to hook this up via the AV cable and hook it up to my setup, and we'll go through some of the games that are on here. Now, here's the main screen of this little device, and it says 201. I'm going to scroll through here a little bit, and we already see just generic stuff. Twin Fish, Door, but I see an Excite Bike back there, and then there's also Space Invaders, but then there's other generic stuff. There's Duck, Fruit Pig, Hexa, and then I scroll down here, and I see number 30, Pikachu. So I'll have to check that out here in just a few minutes, too. Route 16, some bowling, Twin Bee, Panzer Fly Car, just a bunch of random things, like a Paperboy. At least that one I've heard of before, if it's the Paperboy, I think it is. And as I'm getting into the 120s, 130s, then I start to notice a few things. Some of these games, like this, the Pikachu at 145, they just start repeating themselves. So even though it says there's 200 games, like here's Route 16 once again, there is, in fact, not 200 games in this, because a lot of these just repeat themselves. And this is a common problem, it seems like, with, little emulated device that's got hundreds of games in each, hundreds of games in one thing. It's just a constant problem. So it was time to start checking out a couple of these games, and I decided to go with one that I've at least heard of before, and I decided to try Excite Bike. And right away, the sounds like Excite Bike. The menu pretty much looks like Excite Bike, and once I actually get into the game here a little bit, it looks and plays like Excite Bike. Not much more to say about that. I mean, I don't know, maybe the colors, I feel like the colors are slightly off, but at the end of the day, it is Excite Bike. So there's at least one that I know of, one that I have played, and one that I'm familiar with. So I suppose at least this little device has that going for it. From there, I decided to try this Pikachu, and right from the start, we see Pikachu on the main screen. We see this game select, which I don't know really what the difference is, but once I select my little pieces here, I realize that, well, this is basically a Tetris with Pikachu in the middle. I feel like I've seen something like this once before on something else. I don't remember right offhand. But essentially, Pikachu is just like Tetris. Although things began to get a little weird after playing for several minutes. There was a bunch of extra pieces that just kind of showed up, and they just kind of hung out there. And I don't know if this is by design or if whatever file this is just kind of started acting weird, or if this was just a part of how the game operates. But I don't think so. The pieces are just going through my pieces. And so I don't know what was going on here after a few minutes, but I don't think it was supposed to do that. And just because they repeat, I wanted to double check and see if the second Pikachu at 145 was the same game. And naturally, it's the exact same game. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I guess when I see something on the box that says that there's 200 games in here, I don't know why I would expect any different, but I did expect 200 games in this, and this right here shows that, well, that's not the case when multiple games are exactly the same, just like this one. Next, I scrolled down to some Space Invaders, because that's at least something else that I've at least heard of. I mean, who hasn't heard of Space Invaders? So once I hit this game, this is what we get. I haven't played a lot of Space Invaders, and I'm not sure how true to Space Invaders this actually is, but you can tell at least what this version is going for. I suppose at its core it is Space Invaders, but I don't know if this is like true Space Invaders or if this is some kind of Space Invaders knockoff. But when it came right down to it, I guess it's Space Invaders. Next, I tried something called Snow Bros, featuring Nick and Tom. No idea. I've never heard of this. I don't know where they would have gotten this game. But it starts out with this graphic here and a bunch of text, which I don't know what this text is. I'm not sure if it's Japanese or something else, or if it's just a bunch of squiggles. I have no idea what this text is, what it's supposed to be saying, so I just decided to jump into the game, and then the game was, well, this, and at first I couldn't quite figure out what I was supposed to do, instantly got killed, and it took me a few minutes to kind of figure out what I was supposed to do, and essentially it's throw a bunch of snowballs at my enemies, try to freeze them, and then upon doing that, I run it back to the beginning of the level and rinse and repeat until you move on. I'm not really sure what else there is to it and what the true point of it is, since I couldn't read the text at the beginning, but I guess it functioned, whatever this is. Next, I tried something called Faded Pirate. Well, I enjoy, pirates and pirate games, pirate movies. Let's give this a try. The problem is either I couldn't figure out how to play this, or it simply didn't work, because all I could do was shoot my cannons out the side, and I couldn't move. I couldn't go anywhere. So I lost a couple lives trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. And it didn't seem like the game actually functioned at all. Well, that was that. And it was time to try something else. And the next thing I tried was something called Castle Excellent. And this graphic right here reminds me of something. I don't know what. I feel like I've seen that before. And I'm not sure if this is like an actual game. This feels like this would be something that you'd find like on a NES or something. Learned real quick, don't touch these little icicle-looking things. But I couldn't quite figure out what I was supposed to do at first, and the controls were a little funky. But eventually, I figured out exactly how this jump works, which I was expecting the jump would just be like a standard jump, but no. This jump, the character kind of hangs there and floats. So once I kind of got a handle of that, I was able to start collecting some keys and started actually moving through a couple of the levels. I'm not sure if this was something I really could get into or not, but it does seem like there's something here that resembles a game. I'm just not 100% sure what it is. I might actually have to play it a little bit more to see if I could figure it out. Next, I tried something called Amusement Park Jumping Kid. And I gotta tell you, this has got to be one of the simplest games I think I've ever seen in my entire life. At least in the first couple levels, the enemies don't even do anything. They don't jump, they don't walk towards you. You simply hop over the top of them, make your way to the end, and, well, that's it. By the time you start getting into a couple of stages, some of the enemies start doing something, but other than that, there's not a whole lot to it. And I gotta tell you, I got real bored with this real quick. I don't imagine it would get much better. But, well, that was Jumping Kid. Well, I wanted to see if I could find something that resembled some kind of a racing game, and Route 16 Turbo sounded like it might be something racing related to some degree, and it's really not. And I got my little blue car, and I'm just kind of driving around, and then a couple other cars start coming after me, and at first I couldn't quite understand exactly what I was supposed to be doing, and, well, by the time it was all said and done, I still couldn't, but I could leave that little, like, parking area, I guess, and kind of go around these different blocks and go to different areas, and I'm not sure what the point of all of it is. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to get, but there are different items in different areas, like that little bag or this little ring, and I guess I'm just trying to go around and collect stuff. Other than that, I'm not really sure what the point is, and it definitely isn't racing. Kind of seemed like it's got some Pac-Man element to it, and to a certain degree, but other than that, it just left me a little bit more confused than anything, and well, got a bit frustrated and a little annoyed with this one real quick. So it was time to move on to something else. Next, I just tried Championship Bowling. And I figure this has got to be something that's fairly simple. And, I mean, how do you screw up bowling? So I selected my initials. I chose the weight of the ball that I can use and decided to play a couple frames. This one I found a little bit more enjoyable, and I mean, again, how do you screw up bowling? I don't really think you can. Was able to get a few spares, and did fairly decent. Ended up playing an entire game by the time it was all said and done, and by the end, I wound up with a 135, so not terrible, but not really that good either. And last, I tried Paperboy. And Paperboy is something I've at least heard of before. I've never actually played Paperboy on anything. And I don't know
how true to the actual Paperboy this version is. I tell you, it doesn't necessarily look great, but I mean, it looks fairly similar to what I've seen Paperboy being before. I don't know. Again, I've never played the actual Paperboy, so I'm not really sure what to compare it to. But I mean, you get to ride down the street and throw papers at people's houses, so I guess it's similar to Paperboy, or pretty close. Not the most exciting game, but it seemed to function okay. It was Paperboy. What else can I really say?
Well, obviously, the Arcade Fun portable device by Mercury Innovations is very cheap. The fact that they claim that 200 games are on here when that's obviously not the case, a little like false advertising to me, but I mean, there are so many little devices that are out there like this. They're all over the place, and there are many of them that claim to have X amount of games on them, and they don't. They'll repeat half of their library that's on them, just like this does. It's nothing new, and it's not really that big of a surprise. There's a part of me that really kind of expected that, as a matter of fact. It is very cheap. Half the games, even ones that I recognized, like, they played, but, I mean, don't really play all that well. And then there's others that I'm not sure where they even got them from. I never heard of half of it. I wonder if where they even got some of this stuff to begin with for this little device. Overall, for $10, I didn't really expect anything. I've spent $10 on much worse, but is it really worth $10 either? No, not really. I'm not even sure if and when I'll ever play this again. I may stick this in my bag and take it to work with me, just on a break or when I have some downtime. I'll just take this and flick it on for a couple of minutes. I would rather take my PS Vita, but my breaks aren't that long to get into a game that I can play on there and really put some time into. This, I could fiddle around with for a few minutes, turn it back off, stick it back in my pocket, and go about my business. So, yeah, it was $10. I found it in a checkout line at a Walmart. There's really no reason to pick this up, in all honesty. But at the end of the day, I thought it would be something that would be kind of fun just to mess with, just to check out, and somewhat entertaining just to laugh at because of how bad it might be. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, to check out any of the other videos, and to make sure you don't miss any other content that comes out on the channel. There's also a link to the Twitch channel, so you can head over there if you're so inclined to do so, and you can check out my streams every Tuesday and Thursday nights, 11:30 p.m. start time, playing all types of games over there. And there's also a link to the Discord, which is the Grim Beardson Discord. That is a joint Discord server between myself and my brother Suave Beardson, who also streams a couple of nights a week. You can chat with us all week long, or you can just check out the stream schedules of what we plan on streaming next and when. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me for this one. I'm D. I'm the Grim Gamer. Don't get scammed by stuff like this. Put your money towards something else that'll be worth it. We'll see you next time.